That looks more like.
Yes.
How's it going you're in New York, right?
I'm actually in Washington, D.C., but
Okay.
I'll be in New York this weekend.
Okay. How is it over there now with the pandemic?
Oh, it's pretty good. I just had this on because of I'm actually at work, so we can't be around here without a mask.
I see, I see.
So that's what this is for. How are you doing?
All good. All good. I'm in Hamburg, also working a
Mm.
lot. Very, very hot. It's like 32 degrees, which is
Yeah,
not
it's
common.
raining today, but it's really hot here too.
Oh, yeah.
It is the middle of summer, so yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, everything is pretty good. Can't wait to start traveling again. Just making music and going on.
For sure, for sure. And
Yes.
hopefully very soon, very soon. Um, Speaking of very soon, I think it's 2 past now according to my clock. So I say we get on with it. We have quite a few people. There are definitely a few more coming that have said
Okay.
be here, but I think that, yeah, per usual, we can just let us in. This is how we flow usually. So I'm just gonna get on with it with the formalities, and then I'll let you take the spotlight, Yuan. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Welcome to our final edition for now of these online ballroom talks for the Scandinavian ballroom scene. We've had lots of wonderful people here. We've had, wow, where do I start? We had Diesel, we had Kendrick Mugler, we've had Beck and Samara, we've had Typhoon and Matuz, we've had Omari the last time, and now finally we have the Icon Vjuan Allure himself. So this has been quite a ride organizing these talks, and I'm glad that we've gotten good feedback and had some positive responses to what we've been organizing with Paula. So yeah, just to repeat one more time how we like to flow in these talks to make it as smooth as possible. We have 2 hours reserved, which has always turned out to be just the perfect amount of time, in my opinion. So we have some questions that we've been receiving beforehand, and then we'll make sure we have some time in the end for some open conversation and some questions that might have popped into your head spontaneously, or anything that might arise from the previous discussions we have. If there's something urgent or something that is connected to what we're speaking, you can write it in the chat, and then Paula can try to harvest them in real time. But otherwise, just keep them in your mind or write them down, and in the end, we'll make sure that there's some time for some chit chat and sharing of more stuff, whatever you have in mind, whatever your needs are. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I'm Samuel, I'm moderating. That is Paola. She's taking some notes, and she will record this also, so we can get like a proper documentation in the end. So don't worry if you miss something, if there's a lot of information going on. It's totally cool, because we will gather like some notes in a document afterwards. Yeah, keep the chat rolling. Ask us anything and propose, and it's very free, very for us. So okay, back to our beautiful guest today, the Icon DJ Vjuan Allure. Everybody, well, I suggest we start with a small introduction. So you can just give us your little elevator pitch on who you are, what you do, why you do it, and just a little kind of, for the ones who don't know. I think everyone knows, but maybe you can just give a little.
I think everyone knows. Hello everybody. I'm Vjuan Allure, member of the House of Allure and the House of Saint Laurent, and a member of everybody's house. I began my ballroom career approximately 20 years ago. I was quite young when I got into ballroom and the house music scene, but I got into it because of dancing. I love to dance, and I just became enthralled at watching what was happening in the club. I wasn't even paying attention to the dance that the kids were doing because I was house stepping. I was really in love with house music. And then one night I went to the club and I saw them doing this dance, and there was a lot of posing. and I didn't know what it was, but I saw that it was limitless and it was voguing. And I've been just oversaturated by voguing ever since. Everything that has to do with voguing, once you start voguing, as all voguers know, if you vogue every day. Somewhere along the line, you're going to start voguing. A hand movement, a head whip or something, you're going to vogue every day. It becomes part of your life. And I just was in love with ballroom and the creative process of dancing. And a music collector from my mother's side of the family. I was not a DJ, but I just collected music. I collected all the music. I was one of the people that would be in a club and run to the DJ and say, "What is that song?" and go get it and go buy it. And when I went away to Italy for school, I just happened to wind up there with a huge record collection. And while I was there, they wanted me to play hip hop, which was fine. I looked like I came off of a music video. Baggy jeans, the big coat, the goggles, everything, Timberlands. But my heart was in house. And they had my phenomenal team, Angels of Love, that was playing house, and I wanted to be part of that. And that's how I got to DJ. I went there as a dancer, started doing my moves, incorporating some Vogue moves in my house steps, just like in the dance competitions. You'll see it. And from then on, it just became part of Italian nightlife, and slowly and surely weaved a bit more ballroom magic into what we were doing. And now it's so funny now that my friends in Italy will look back and see what, like, hey, you were doing that before. You were getting us ready for it. I was like, yeah, I couldn't give it all to you at one time. But that's how I was actually filtering Italian nightlife into ballroom. And I came back to the States the first time. My mentor, I had given him some music, just little things I made for my friends, just little intros to CDs I was making. And then I returned to Italy within 2 years. Well, when I went back to Italy, my friends from the States, members of the House of the Lord, called me and said that my mentor was playing my music like everywhere. And it had caught on in the States, which was really fun to hear about. But I had at least 2 more years left in Italy. So when I came back, it had spread all throughout the States. It was at every ball. It was everywhere. And it was great. And the funny thing was, I would be in the club, and because I said my name so funny on the CDs, this is a lot of love magnifique beat. They didn't understand the name, so they thought this is Vjuan Allure, this is Yvonne Allure. So they thought it was 2 different things. So when they saw me and my mentor would announce that I was in a club, I would be standing by someone and they're, "Oh, Vjuan Allure's in here." They run to go see who it is. And I'm like, "It's me." So when I wound up on the console and was playing, then everybody knew who it was. And the rest is great history, I should say.
Truly. Okay. Do you speak Italian, actually?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
I
Impressive.
speak more Neapolitano than I speak Italian.
I
I
see.
speak more Italian street slang from the south of Naples.
Okay. I've heard it's very different.
Oh, but it's fun.
Thank you. That's a beautiful introduction. I
Thank
suggest we move on to the questions that we received.
Okay.
So I've kind of curated a little order for the questions so the conversation flows smoothly.
Okay.
The first one would be, which houses do you currently represent and which roles do you play in Allure and Saint Laurent?
I currently represent both of those houses. I will never leave Allure, and Allure is also Saint Laurent. We've taken what people didn't understand was the way we ran our house. We actually had a board running our house. We were not. We had a father in our house, Father Al, but Al had taken a hiatus, and we didn't have a proper mother in the house. And so Allure was still working in the ball scene. So to get answers and get new members, they formed a board within the house. So the board was actually running the house. So the core members of the board are now St. Laurent's. And we're still brothers and sisters and everyone gets along, but I refuse to pick either side. I'm both. And I will work, when I work an issue for Allure, I will work an issue for Allure. When I work an issue for St. Laurent, I'll work an issue for St. Laurent. It's never, oh, let me snatch this from so-and-so and do, no. If you ask me one thing, that's what I'm going to tell you. It just depends on who asks me. Um, I, uh, do a lot of overseas connections for them. My job in St. Laurent and Allure was never to be a DJ. I'm just a person in the house that happened to DJ. That was not a prerequisite to have a DJ in your house. I just happened to be a DJ. So everyone thinks they have to join the house to have a DJ. You don't. That was not a requirement, and I'm not required to play for them or make productions for them just because I DJ. So that's not a thing. For every other house, you know, I try to smooth things over, keep things cool, give knowledge, you know, assist every house as I can, as much as I can as possible. Because what I noticed and when I did learn that being in all these balls, that we soaked up a whole lot of knowledge and to pass the knowledge on to everyone, especially new scenes and everything else. So that's my job.
Cool. That's what you're doing right now also.
Yes.
Nice. Alrighty. There was a question that someone was interested to hear more about the House of Allure because yeah, its origin and history, and if it has plans to expand to Europe was the question. And I guess we
Allure,
can't really know.
yes.
Yeah.
Allure was the house, it was one of the first, what they call a boutique house. It didn't have very many members, but when we were there, it was very impactful. We had heavy hit, people had to come out to really, really see what Allure was. And they all came out, they were done. They were assassins at runways, assassins at fashions, assassins at female figures. When I came to Allure, myself and then Stefan Balenciaga was the Vogue Femme, and I was the old way. And we only had two Voguers in the house, and we lit the ballroom on fire because we were different from everyone. So everyone, but we were still chatting amongst chat rooms, and they were like, "Who's this old way you guys got in the lore? Who's this Vogue Femme you got?" And like I said, we only had two versus everyone. We were a pretty good threat. You know, we made our mark in the ballroom as far as people hearing about us and what we were doing. And I went back to Italy, and that's when some more people joined for performance. But Allure was one of the smaller houses, most impactful houses. It was a house that people loved to hear and loved to see. They were very much coordinated. They coordinated looks well before it became a regular thing. They were just, they're a good bunch of people. I still love all of them to this day. Father, mother, past mothers, past members. It's hard for me to say goodbye to past members, but you're never a past member. Once a brother or sister, always a brother or sister. The house doesn't matter, but you know, the friendship does. So, and the Lord, we rocked in Stockton. When that name came out, it was a thing to be in the Lord. It was a big thing to be in the Lord. And the same thing now, St. Laurent has been resurrected, and they started doing the same thing. It made St. Laurent live up to its standards. You know, we had, of course, the ultimate Octavia, and now we have Michelle, and we also have Georgina, you know, in those places. And we're moving right along with keeping that name, the illustrious name there. Thankfully for the name for Mr. Robert, who is Robbie St. Laurent. They held the name up and they gave us the benchmark, and we're reaching that benchmark and going along with it.
Oh. And do you have any members in Allure in Europe? Any European members?
There are some members in Allure just got their international members. There's a few of my, I want to know, I'm not going to name them all, but most of them are coming, I believe, from London, and they showed up in Paris.
Okay.
So I have to actually go over and meet them and say hello and all this stuff. So it's going to be cool. Be really cool.
Okay.
And the German, if everyone knows that the um, the melody is from Germany.
Mhm.
I was very close to them. I've done a few of the Berlin voguing outs and balls, and they've come around, and they came to the realization that they wanted the affiliation with the European, with the American houses. So they asked about Saint Laurent. Of course, I tried to give them all the advice they needed about remaining your own separate entity and the pros and cons of becoming part of another entity. And of course, they went along with it, and they became Saint Laurent's at the Olympic Ball in Paris.
All right. There was a continuation to this in the chat. Let me just read it up for all of us. Which years did you join the House of Allure? Do you know when the European chapter was opened?
The European chapter of Allure was opened this year, so it's not, 2019.
Oh.
I joined Allure in 1999. 1999, well, actually, yeah, no. In 2000, early 2000, I joined. But I received my invitation in 99. I actually received 3 invitations to the House of Allure, but some friends and I were trying to pursue another house
Uh-huh.
when the Lord asked me. And since I was going along with my friend, I didn't just, oh, let me jump here, let me jump here. But I thanked them for asking me, but I told them that we were pursuing something else. And they asked again, and they asked again. The third time, the process had broken down with my friend in the other house. So then I said, okay, I'm coming to your open house. And we went to audition, myself, Stefan, the person I spoke of, and 2 other people. And all of us made it in that night. We had to audition and do our respective categories.
Wow, you had to audition for the house.
Yes.
What was that situation like? Like it was
It was,
at a ball or just an open situation?
it was, well, the thing was, the people who had us audition for the house, they were common people in the club. They were definitely known ball walkers, heavy hitters, grand prize winners. Runway, we had Nisi. Nisi used to vogue, but Nisi wasn't legendary. But Nisi also did runway. Derek, who is now Father Garcon, Glenn, and Enrique, who is also Saint Laurent. They had us go to a beautiful house. I forget. I think it's Enrique's house, but it was huge. We walked into it. They had the music. They told us what Saint Laurent was about. Not Saint Laurent. Well, the Lord was about. They were prospecting us. They wanted to see what we had, and put your music on and do it. So they put the music on. It had my friend Richard. They had him walk. They had the other one, Sean. They had him walk, and I had the Vogue, and so did Stefan. But we were ready. It was like, they were like, it was pretty much a done deal, but they wanted everyone to see because they were in the club and they were telling us, you need to come, you need to come. And we did.
And you did. Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's intense. That's not how it's happening these days.
No, this is the thing is that is the actual way it should be is that you go to a ball as a 007 and you win.
Hmm.
Then a house will pick you.
Yeah.
The way we were doing it, if they saw the talent in you, they could pick you to be in the house. Now it's just people just putting people in a house, and you don't know where their head's at. Somebody did a new spin in the club, so you get them. So that a lot of it is still the same. They are picking and choosing, but some of the people are going because, oh, my friend is in the house, and it's like, okay, well, what are you joining the house for? Like us, we had to, even though we've been on the club and on the ballroom floor, walking and dancing in the club and walking runway in the club, we still had to show you at the audition,
Right.
you know.
To make it official. That's a good bridge for this question that I received privately, which is you've been in the same house for a long time. What's your advice to 007 still looking for their own house locally and worldwide?
If you are going to a house, remember, you're an asset. You are the asset, okay? The house is a team that's there, and if you have to research your team, research your team and research your family. Always speak to them. Don't be in such a rush to jump to a house because, like I said, oh, my friend went, but you know no one else in your house but your friend. Watch them, see what they do, how they, how are their trophies in the house? Are they walking and winning, as much as they would like you to walk and win? You know, what are you going to the house for? Well, if 20 Vogue Femmes in there and I Vogue Femme, how am I going to stand out? How are you going to recognize me? I got 20 people in the house already. What have I got to do to stand out? And that leads me to another discussion about your performance. Performance will runway, real as anything. You have to stand out. Something about you has to stand out in order for you to be recognized. If you do the same thing as everyone else, you're just another part of the wheel. But if you stand out, you become something, a focal point to look at. You become that star. This is where the divisions came from, the star statements and legends. Star was pretty much just somebody who was really rock stocking it, and they just came along from nowhere and just boom, you're like, okay. And you get to watch them and watch them become a statement, watch them beat people, But that's the thing, you have to make yourself a star to be seen. And if we're all doing the same moves, we're not going to be seen. Only the first person that goes out. And the second person will be the copycat. Okay. So that's one thing. To make sure that you guys are individuals. You have to be an individual for yourself, for what you're presenting, for your category. You become a member of the house with what you bring to it. Okay. In order to remain in the house, like myself, I was quite busy in my house. I had meeting issues with my house in the beginning. They came up with all these fly-by-night meetings they wanted to attend at first. And I said, I can't do that. I have a career. I can't just jump and be at a meeting. So they got it together and they started structure. The thing is, you question your house. You do everything for your house that you would like to get to sit there, to make me comfortable. What are you about? What's going to happen with this? Where's my support? Why you didn't walk me to the floor? You get to speak up, speak up, and get to know these people, because most of the people you don't know. Most of the people you don't know, you hear about them. Also, with overseas kids trying to join an overseas house, either way, you need to learn who they are. Don't just run and jump because so-and-so is there or it's a fab house. It is, but is it fab for you? Get to know these people the same way. You need to speak to them, ask them questions. If they get upset with you asking questions, that's obviously not the right house for you. Obviously. If you can't answer my question, there's no need for this conversation to go along. Okay? So with kids that are overseas, like I said, watch these people when they start to befriend you. Watch, you're calling me brother, sister. You've never met me. We just met on the internet, and I've only known you for 4 days. How are you, my brother or sister? What's my last name? These are things. Use your head. Don't fall in love with I love my sister and all this and blah blah blah. Use your heads when you do this. It's very important because uh when people go to these houses, a lot of times they get mixed up and they're put into a situation they don't want to be in, and they don't know how to get out of it. So it's asking all the questions. It's before you say yes, take your time. There's no rush for you. Like I said, you're the asset. You're the commodity. if you keep doing what you're doing, if you keep walking and perfecting your craft or your vogue, you're still going to be a commodity. Okay. And that's how, make them want you. But you got to turn around and say, yeah, I want to be here too, because of who's around you. Okay.
Great, great, very clear, very practical answer. What's my last name? I love that. I'll keep that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, your last name. Wow. Okay, final question before we move on from the houses conversation. I'm curious, which house was it that you were pursuing at the time? You mentioned when you were going to.
The house I was pursuing at the time was there was it was actually called Essence. It was run by Tehran Essence
Okay.
out of Atlanta, who became Tehran Mizrahi. And what was supposed to happen was that they were supposed to turn us all into Mizrahis.
I see.
It was a group of us. And my friend, another Ove friend, Michael, he was the one who was spearheading this, and he lost contact. He hadn't heard from them. And then we were talking amongst some other friends, and Michael had tried to enter another house and didn't tell us. It was like, okay, this is already done. Let's do our own thing. And then I turned to Allure and said, yes, I'm coming.
Gotcha. Okay. Alrighty, thank you. Let's move on a little bit. So what do we got next on the list? This, I guess you already answered. You were talking about your past with Old Way. The question was, which categories would you walk or do you walk at balls when you're not busy being the DJ?
My category is Old Way. It was New Way first. I was New Way first. Still can stretch. So I did New Way. I did Old Way. I walked Realness once, or Streetwear. Streetwear. I walked that once, but I think I would actually walk Bazaar if I had a chance. I think I would do something. It would be different. My Bazaar is going to be very bizarre, but out of the box Bazaar, out of what people would think it was. But I definitely have ideas and stuff like that. But I love seeing all the other categories. But the voguing gets me. Dancing, it's all the dancing. I love dancing, so that when I see it, it's like yes, yes. So it was always attracting. Sorry, excuse me. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Warren.
Yes.
This is Mr. Bello. I just got your email.
Hey, let me call you back.
Okay.
Okay. I'm back. Sorry.
If you break, it's fine. It's fine too.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All good, all good. There was also another question I got, which was which categories? I mean, you already said, but which categories are your favorite to watch and play music to?
It could be anything. But
Right.
definitely voguing, definitely runway. It's the spectacle. But you can come down and walk face and kill it. You can come down and walk by. It's what you bring with you, or how you bring it. Okay. Like when with this best dress kills it. All of them really. It's a lot. Even with realness, the way that they bring it, like we just had a realness category, and they said bring an album cover to life.
Oh wow.
So they did. We had someone. This was not too long ago, but they did from the Notorious B.I.G. They they had. He was in a diaper, and other ones brought it like now. So it was really cool, but it depends on what you're bringing. Schoolboy, futuristic schoolboy. They did this thing with cards. The backpacks were made out of cards. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was really cool. Yeah, it just depends on the person's creativity. And of course with the music behind them, Vogue is definitely going to be one of my favorites because I make a beat as I'm watching the performers.
Yeah.
But even, for runway, just watching the creativity of what they come up with is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Bizarre as well. You never know what's coming down the runway.
Cool. Alrighty. Wait, let's move on to the next one. Yes. So this question is a bit about the origin of ballroom music. So it's how did the classic pop, dip, and spin beats come about to be their own distinguished genre of music, as opposed to the disco and house music of the time? And what's the relation and history between disco, house, and ballroom music, especially in the beginning?
Okay. If you went to a club, I'm speaking of my mom's era. It was called the disco. So disco's main uh signature was 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is what they danced to keep it continuous. And even in the older discos, they did not mix. They just put on record after record after record. Um, as it grew and they had that demonstration where they burned all the disco records, they still had music. A lot of places, discos had closed and then clubs were open, but they didn't want to call it disco because they didn't want any backlash. So it became club music. And then it became when hip hop entered into the realm, you had hip hop clubs come up, but they still wanted to move, and there was a gap between the two. You had a lot of the Latino community do a brand of hip hop called freestyle, and if you listen to freestyle, the beat is kind of hip hopish, but still more danceable, and they bridged it together. And then the stars from disco and R&B started singing over these beats, and it was called club music. So club became a thing, club music, and then club music became there was freestyle club music, and then it morphed into what became dance music, and dance music uh, was what you heard in the club, but it was actually very disco tinged. It was a part of disco, but it was never called disco. And when Frankie Knuckles got a hold of it and started working at it in New York and New Jersey, he actually took it to Chicago, and he worked at a club called the Warehouse. And what they used to play, the when they described the music that they played at that club, oh yeah, they're playing in the Warehouse those songs from the Warehouse. Oh yeah, that house music. That's where it came from. So that was around 88, 89, 90. And that's where the term house music came from. So when they were in the clubs in New York and we played those songs, Break for Love, French Kiss, and all that stuff, that was termed house music. And those songs are very disco laden. You can hear the 4/4 kick, but they did different things as far as what the song did or what direction it took. But the 4/4 from disco is still there. So all of that came from disco. All of that came from disco. So when you had, especially the old way, which was started in the 80s and all that stuff, you were going through First Choice, It's Not Over. All these songs, they're not that old. They sound like old songs, but they're Philly International songs, salsa orchestra songs. After disco, just before house. And when they were in the clubs, they used to dance to those rhythms, Love Hangover and all that stuff. So it just elevated, if that makes sense. So the reason old way is attached to those songs is because there was never a category made. We didn't specifically have our own music to vote to. We danced to whatever was out, whatever was hot, and that's what they did. They took Love Is the Message. They took Love Hangover. They took these beats. Is It All Over My Face for a face category. All these songs they snatched and they used them because the people liked them in the club, and it just became a ballroom staple. When they started to make songs specifically for the ballroom, specifically, there were a few people. Danny Ultra Omni had made a song. David, of course, David and even Extravaganza made elements of Vogue. Walter, Malcolm McLaren and all these Deep in Vogue, but Deep in Vogue doesn't lend itself as a performance song. It's a performance itself in the video, but as far as being in the club in a ballroom, it's not a ballroom song. It's about ballroom. So Robbie Tronco made Walk For Me and Runway at the House. And then he stopped. He made something else. Then he went to techno. So when I started to make beats, they were specifically for ballroom, for voguing, for runway. That's where they came from. Make sense?
A lot of stuff. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm wondering, so was there anyone before you who made songs specifically in that ballroom context, or like
No.
this category, or you were that?
No, I was the first one to specifically sit down and orchestrate making things specifically for, and they started with Vogue Femme.
Right. And then
the hot dance itself, I've told this to many people when I go teach. It wasn't a Vogue Femme song at first. It was a New Way song. Mm-hmm. It was a New Way song, and it had this annoying sweeping. You can still hear it, but the version you get now has been re-released. The first version that came out had the sweeping on it was like, but it was very loud. So if you're in a club, it really messed with your ears. So you would only hear the beginning and a little bit after the beginning of that song in the club. But it was such a hot beat, it just caught on. And my mentor, Cedric, DJ Cedric, when he came back around, it got re-released. And it was just before, it was like, let's just say the 2000s, when this category, the 89, not 89, but I want to say around 2002, 4. Yeah, no. Let me get it together. It was just shortly before 2000, when the category had come together between Vogue and Femme. It was Vogue Like Your Favorite Femme Queen.
Ah, well.
Okay. So when people were doing Vogue Femme, you had to Vogue Like Your Favorite Femme Queen. And some of the ones who had learned, who would watch the category, they Vogue like Sanaya, they Vogue like Ashley, they Vogue like Nyambi. And what happened was it was supposed to be for a Kiki, because the guys were supposed to Vogue like the girls. And at first it was, but then they got so good at it, it became a category. Wow. And the song that was that fit perfect for it was the hot 1, 2, 3, 4. It fit so perfectly when Cedric Reed, when he brought that beat back out, it stuck. Because that was, if you didn't know how to do it, it was and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So when you taught somebody 1, 2, 3, 4, it was easy to pick up. So they're like, oh, I get it. So it stuck. And it's a hot beat anyway. So it just stayed there. All right. So that's how it became the Vogue Femme anthem.
Wow. Okay, that's how. I had something in my mind, but there were also things in the comments. Let me have a look. Yeah, we'll save those for later. But maybe just one more clarification on that. Like, when you started specifically making music for ballroom, which elements did you add or remove, or from the music at the time, which was house music mainly, as you said? What was that specific twist? If you made something for the runway, what kind of beat would you use? What kind of instruments? What kind of melody? What's the difference for you, technically speaking?
What I did for voguing and the beats, I did what they did for breaking. Breaking, if you ever watch a break dancer when they're looking for the break beats, it was because there was no music for breaking either. But what they did, they went through those songs, they went through the James Brown songs, they went through all these songs and found the hot part of the song. And they extended that break. And when I got to like a part of a song that was hot, and I watched everybody. You ever see it? Like, okay, in the beginning, if let's do an example for the before it starts, it has the crashes and the beat just before it goes into everything else. When you hear that, a lot of people run to the floor because they want to dance on that first part. So we kept extending the first part so everybody could get in on that first part. So we extend the exciting parts and cut down the stuff that wasn't so exciting. And that's what we started to do, emphasize the drama, as much drama as possible. You know, get them into the beats, and you just watch to see what beats people were dancing to, what was the meat of the song, and that's what you would get to and cut away the fat, and now you have this hot beat, and that's what it was.
Okay. Sweet. Um, moving on. Lots of stuff to talk about still.
Hmm?
We have, sorry, I'm trying to find the question I was thinking about. So yes, there was this question about the crash, which is, as we all
Yes.
know, the punctuation. So according to a lot of sources, you were the one who also created the crash. Is this correct?
I did not create the crash. That is Masters of Work, Kenny Dope and Louis Vega. They used a sample from, of course, Trading Places for the vocal "Beat It and Beat It and Beat It," that comes from the movie. But what they did is they have a crash, a cymbal, and a secret weapon that they combined to make that noise.
Okay.
And when you hear it in the club, it's just like, and it just knocks you out of the concentration when you hear it. So what we've done, we've taken it, we've rearranged it, we've made it louder, we've made it softer, because a lot of record companies, when they hear distortion. We love the distortion in the club. We want to hear it as loud as possible. But to sell a record, it can't be all distorted. In the club, it can be. So we've had to modify what it sounds like. So we've done all kinds of things to it. I have my own signature crashes. Queen Bee has their own signature crashes. It's just become something that we've done. But the thing is, that's not the only thing that makes your beat hot. You can have a perfectly hot song that has no crash on it whatsoever, and that's what we want to get people to understand. We will definitely keep a crash in the song, you know, in ballroom, but we don't need it all the time. We have other beats that will get you just as lit without having the crash on it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Then there was a question about hands and arms. So hands performance and arms control. Although, yeah, I guess the music is quite different in the two. But the question was, what are the official / original songs for hands performance and arms control? And how did they become the ones for these categories, or the kind of anthem
Okay.
for these categories?
When you're using hands and arms, it is you've elevated just moving your whole arm to the beat. You've gotten to master the musicality with your arms. And once you start doing that, you'll find out, okay, because everyone knows the basic beat of the song goes one way. And then someone catches the backbeat. And then someone, oh, I'm going to dance to the snare drums on this song. Or I'm going to dance to the hi-hats on this song. You start picking the song apart and you start using your musicality to tell a story. And this is the thing where Vogue has always told the story. Okay, your hands and your arms help you. So what they wanted you to do was stand in one spot and tell a story with your hands only. And then when they were using their hands, you know, that's when all the flickering and all this stuff came about, you know, to convey, you know, or dance. This is what you were dancing with. And arms, you use your arms with hands, of course. There's no way not to. But the emphasis when you do hands is on your hands. The emphasis when you do arms is your whole arm extended or crunch, but it's moving your arms and not moving your hands. We know that your hands are involved in the arm performance, but you cannot deeply depend on your hands in arm performance. It's your whole arm, and vice versa. Your arms are there to help you in hand performance, but the thing is your hands. This is what we're looking for. So what happened was there were a lot of people, myself included, um, who were beat catchers. And a beat catcher is someone who can take a beat and is going crazy, and you just catch every beat with your hand. So those became the songs that became hand performance songs. Dendada, some of it is sitting right there. Dendada is sitting in front of you, and he's telling you what to do. Dendada, doom, 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 doom. It just told you what to do with your hands. So when he finishes, you and you catch the beat. So it became a song to work out to for hand performance. A lot of the arm performance songs came from, it is like a, if you listen to Master Blaster, listen to Master Blaster, and you can hear the synthesizer go, yeah, the extension of that synth. When you like, or even Fly Life. Fly Life is one. But predominantly they love Fly Life for Runway. But if you listen to the synthesizer in Fly Life and you stretch your arm and move with it in unison, it's a great arms control beat. And that's what the arms control was. We still want to be able to move, but I can't move my arm as fast as I can move my fingers. But I can stretch it out over the beat. And that's where the synthesizers come in. A heavy synthesizer will lay over many beats and you can stretch your arm accordingly.
Right. So it's to do with the speed a lot and the need.
Yes. The speed and the feeling. It's more like for arm performance, a lot of people, they like to speed things up. And I tell them that, okay, but if you slow it down, with arm performance, you're showing people I can twist my arms and do this and look like origami, and it doesn't even affect me. And your face is so serene and straight. If you do it too quickly, no one sees it. It looks like a magic trick. Like, what did he do? What did he do? But if you do it real slow and let them see it, they're like, ah, and that's when you got them.
Yeah. This
You
is
want
how
them, yes, you're giving them the illusion. You can't, I'm looking at, you ever speed up? Yes, you can speed up. And that's not the issue. You can speed up during the song, but you slow it down. Like here's a perfect thing. Do something very fast and say, hold up, and then do it slow. So that now they realize what they just saw. So now you're showing them both sides. So yes, speeding up is not a problem. That's not the issue. What I'm saying, I'm talking about speed in reference to arms control and of course new wave people, because you put so much into what you're doing, the contortions and everything. If you do them so fast, no one will ever see the contortion. It looks like you just moved your arm, but actually you popped your shoulder out and turned it. So that's the thing. You want to show them that I popped my shoulder out. And that's when they're like, oh my God, did you see it? Versus, what did he do? I didn't see it. So that's why we tell people to, when you do new wave, slow it down so they can see, like, okay, someone that does a split. If you just get on the floor and split and get up and everything, no one sees that. But if you're standing there and you fall into a split and hold it and then look at the crowd like, what? It's like, oh my God, it's like, how long can they stay in that split? How did you do that? So it becomes this, you will get more excitement by doing a sober performance. Take that tip and watch your categories and your trophies increase.
very good. Listen to
Trust
that.
me.
All right. So I missed something about the crash, so we're just going to go back to that really quickly.
Okay.
So Silva just asked, or she was wondering, Silva Prodigy was wondering, wasn't the half of the breakers in the beginning? Are you good?
Hot dance? No. What was for the breakers was Dendada.
Dindada, right.
Dendada was for breakers first.
Okay.
And the Breakers, if anyone doesn't know that story, in the pier in New York City around that time frame, 84, 85, uh, but actually then Dada came out in 82. So 84, 85, around that time frame, um, there would be breakers on the pier in New York, and there would be the Vulgars on the piers, Christopher Street piers. And they would be walking along or walking down um, 12th Avenue. And they would meet up, and the breakers, including Kid Glide, would battle the Vulgars. So this is why you see some of the moves look familiar. The tutting that they have and what we do with our arms control, it's very similar because they used to battle and do the same things. And that was one of the songs that they got. They used to come down with their boom boxes and everything, and they would go like song for song. I used to hear they would go song for song. And they would battle on our songs, we would battle on their songs. And one of the songs they battled to was Dindada.
Wow. Did not know that. Okay. Hope that
Mm-hmm.
got clarification. Wow. Um, so what did we got next? We got yes, we have a question. Do you play different types of music for European and all American runways, or do you play the same? And what's the difference for you if there is?
Okay. Yes and no. You have to understand where the European runway category, as far as ballroom is concerned, they're looking for the high fashion European shows, the type of music. And even though some of those shows have very ambient beats and everything, think of a ballroom like where you see a Gareth Pugh or Alexander McQueen and some of these beats or something. Can you imagine them walking the fly life? Yes, you can. When All American came around, the reason for All American Runway is if you looked at any of the male models that came from the U.S., they all walked with an attitude, like we call it a U.S. attitude, but it wasn't a U.S. attitude. It was more of the man, like in your face, kind of kind of. It was more brash. It was more, you know, more of a bravado kind of thing, and that's you can see it when they're walking. So that flavor transferred over to rock and roll. So most of the times when they did American Rumba, you would hear a rock theme. It would be a rock song behind it. And because they weren't walking in time to the music, it was just the sound of the music behind them. Okay, where most of the times when you see European runway, it's easy for them to catch walking in time with the music because it is 4/4, and sometimes it lends itself to their walk. With American runway, it didn't. It was just like a rock song, ballroom blitz, who am I, satisfaction. Satisfaction is more techno than anything, but it still was one of the American rock songs that they wanted to use. But definitely ballroom blitz and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, there's no if you can walk runway, let them hit a beat too. So the Americans got into the beats and they learned how to walk the beats. So when they come out to differentiate the categories, I give them their own music. I give them their own music. But when they battle, it could be anything because they've learned how to walk to everything. And right now, one of the hottest beats out, and it's more house than anything, is my Runway Vengeance, and it was made for Americans, for American All Americans.
Cool. Do you get inspired by fashion shows and what they do in fashion shows when you make new beats for the runway also? Or
I
you
don't. I really don't because I just like to see what they have on,
yeah.
and what inspires me is what's in my head when they come around the corner. I love to see um I love to see the wow factors as far as runway shows. When you would just have on a nice outfit, you have on a nice outfit. I want to see something that's going to make me go, whoa. That's what inspires me. When I see the whoa, then I want to make something. Then I want to create something. But if it's just regular, it's like, okay, you look nice. Okay. And that's it, you know.
Why not?
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to some performance category related questions. So yeah, in performance category, so with this, I guess, voguing, in Vogue categories, how do you describe the differences between a baby and an experienced Voguer, such as an Icon? How do you see them relating to your music, and what are the differences for you when you see? So what do you see when you look at someone who's a beginner and someone who's really experienced, and how do they use and play with the music?
I usually I take my music to the club. I never tested it. I would take it to the club and I would focus on the first people that were there. Normally in the US, you know, we come to the club late, we come to the bar late, we do everything freaking late. So the people who would come to the club and be on the floor first are the babies. And there would be always a couple babies who had a little bit more experience. So when I play stuff and I'm like watching them, I would see what beat they would be on. And pretty much if you watch them, they're very on the basic beat, the first beat that's there. When you see someone with a little bit more experience, you'll see a lot more hand performance because they're experimenting with other beats within the song. Okay. Someone that's older is going to get out there and do poses, runway, and you'll think they're off beat, but then they're going to fall into a split and be right on beat. And this is someone who has a song in their head. They know the tune, and may not know the song, but they have the tune. They've listened to it repeat. So they have the musicality where this song is going. And they can you kind of feel it. And you're watching the people dance. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to hit this a lot different than they are. Because some of the people are just doing the moves and some of them are dancing. Once you get to the dancing part, you're in it. You're in it. To learn the moves, yes, we all learn the moves. But the thing is, you take the moves and then you make them yours. You start to dance with those moves. How can I bend this? How can I make this mine? You know, because I'm not gonna pick on her because I'm not picking on her. Her class is over, and that's Labi Fuji. But the people that come from her class, I see you do the hand knock so much. She's taught you that, but you have to change it. You have to change what she's doing. When you sit there and you're doing hand performance and locking your arms like this, that's her move. You're supposed to change it because you look. I can watch you like, yeah, you came from her class. So if I know that routine, what she taught you, I can stop you.
Makes sense. Okay. Okay. And do you think, as a continuation to that, do you think it's important to train to different kinds of music, or would
Yes.
you to stick to the ballroom beats, or what would you recommend
No.
in terms of?
What you need to do is to learn to vogue to everything. But to my what I was saying before is that we vogue every day. Once you learn to vogue, you're gonna vogue every day. Every day it won't be something it won't be a vogue song that you hear out in the streets or whatever. It'll just be something that you heard and you're like, pow, 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 and it's gonna hit you. TV commercial, something is gonna hit you. And then you start moving to different things. I just learned the different rhythms, like voguing to a dance hall beat. Not doing, because a lot of people are incorporating dance hall dancing with their voguing or soca with the voguing or all these other dance hip hop with voguing, which is okay. But the thing is, no, learn how to vogue to a hip hop beat. Not do hip hop dances, but vogue to that beat. Don't do dance hall, vogue to that beat. And the thing is, it's only going to help you because when you get the opportunity, or these people are giving you a chance to spotlight what you do, or giving you a museum piece or a TV commercial, you have to be comfortable with what they're going to give you. If they ask you for input as far as what music would you like, then you have a leg to stand on. If they don't, you're up to, here, this is the music, deal with it. And if you can't produce, they'll take you out of the project. So learning to vogue on different types of music, number one, it's fun, and it only helps you. It can only help you.
Do you ever have the category Vogue to Everything in the States? Because I've seen it in some major scene balls in Austria and Kiki's in Germany, and it's around. But do you have it in the States ever?
Yes, we've had it's called Potluck, Pick Your Poison. We've done that, and sometimes it's so cool to watch and see. We just did. Ricky Allure is known for destroying this category. He voted to the national anthem.
Wow.
And tore it up. He tore it up. And what was the funny thing is, a lot of people don't think until someone else does it, and then they try to imitate it. Like, you need to be outside the box at all times, because this is how you become memorable. This is how you become seen. It is it's you. This is your dance. We're teaching you how to do the basics of dance, how to move, how to work with a song. But then you take it and you put your spin on it, and it becomes your whole dance. If you were taught by somebody, and as you're walking that category, you may do a few moves like them, but we shouldn't be able to sit up there like, yeah, you did. I just watched. Deshawn, your Deshawn part 2. That shouldn't be a thing. It is all about you making this dance and making it all it's supposed to be as far as voguing is concerned. Runway 2. Runway, you learn, there's pivots, there's spins, but what can you do to set you apart? You don't have to spin as fast. You can learn how to spin left, right, and there's things you can do.
To be unique.
Exactly.
Connected to what you said before about the houses, also to really have something stand out.
Yes, you become that commodity. You'll be a commodity being unique.
Yeah.
And you will be a person who they're going to follow being unique.
Nice.
Because there was, we can list them out. I was unique. Naomi was unique. Deshawn is unique. All these people who were there and have the name and following behind them were unique at something. Sanaya, Naambi, even the realness kids, they were unique how they presented it. So it's like, I need to aspire to be that. No, you need to aspire to do more than that. You need to be you. But think about the uniqueness going all out.
Boom. Cool. We have this one for you.
Okay.
Do you, oh, wait, sorry. Do you ever, first this one. What are your general thoughts on the do's and don'ts of DJing in ballroom regarding different categories? So which elements do you find important for the music in each category, and what do you think you should avoid?
Okay. What I think is is important in the category is number one, learn what the category is and what was in the category. Meaning, if you're going to do old way, just having an old song doesn't make it old way. Okay. What happens is there's a feeling with the songs that they've listed, the songs that they used as a basis. Now, the thing is, they love new songs. All the kids love new songs, but what we do is normally take one of the bases and create from that. So just having the song that came out, an old house song, doesn't make it old way. It doesn't mean, I can use this for the old way category. No. Because, but the thing is, you can do it because they should be able to vogue. But when we're looking at what song is this, the rest of the crowd is like, what song is this? And if it has feeling in it, you'll catch it. If it has no feeling in it, we won't. which is that's the whole thing, is to have a feeling in the song. There's a certain thing that you need to excite people. It's hard to explain if you don't dance. I was a dancer. Well, I'm a dancer. I don't Vogue Femme, but I know what's going to make the Vogue Femmes move. I know what's there. I've battled old femmes, so I've seen different parts of their attack, what they like, and things like that. So I'm kind of sure if I make this, yeah, this will get them. Versus, oh, this will work, and it has nothing to do with them. The songs are catered towards what you're looking at. It's never you sitting up there, oh, I need to play my new song. No, you need to play for them. That's what it is. If you have a song that fits what you're doing, play it. If they don't particularly like this song and it's for them, still play it. Because you know that's a Vogue Femme song. I know it's a Vogue Femme song. You've done it before. And but if it's not a Vogue Femme song, if it's just something you picked up, of course, get rid of it. Same thing with Old Way and New Way. New Way songs are laid out, you know. There's so many of them there that are sitting there. But most of the New Way songs are more houses going into tech. And because of the synthesizer in it, it's what's going to move it in that direction. But New Way is actually Old Way, but just with gymnastics, so they can do any song.
Mm-hmm.
Any song, but there are certain flavors on them. And like I said, if you listen to Master Blaster, if you listen to You Ain't Dancing, if you listen to Powered, you will understand what I'm talking about. If you listen to Feel This, you know, if you listen to that range, Robbie Rivera, etc., you'll understand what I'm talking about. Listen to that brand of music, and that's New Way. Got you. And the same with Ove. Ove is very style soul, very Philly international, very love is the message, very, you know, but it still goes into I want to go bang, you know, it gets hotter, Todd Terry, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the kind of beats that are Old Way, you know.
There was this other question very related to this, which was, can you share some tips for potential future ballroom DJs? So this is already very good base for that. But is there anything you want to add to that in terms of someone who's looking to begin their career as a ballroom DJ?
If you're looking to begin your career, actually start getting the songs together. Understand why the song is played. Look at the people when they dance to these songs. Look at the people who are watching when these songs come on. Because not last year, Old Way at the Latex Ball. It was just I played these songs before, but the last year I put them together in such a way where everybody was just like, I need to copy that. And everybody just felt it. It was just mixed smoothly, but it was coming from everywhere. It came from the Runway kids, came from the Vogue Femme kids, came from the Face kids. Everybody wanted it. So it's the spirit and how you play it and what you're mixing. So learn these songs, look at the people, you know, ask questions about the songs. You know, nothing, it doesn't hurt to ask people, but don't expect them to come up. And this the worst thing you can do, especially for someone that's trying to make a beat. Oh, do you have a starter kit? So, what do you call it? We got a pack of sounds so I can make this kind of beat. It's not that. Listen to the songs. There's all kinds of beats in there. There's all kinds of sounds. It can be anything, but it's how you pace it, how you do it, what it sounds like. Okay. It's not it's not what you play on either. You can play on the most basic PC ever, but it's how you play, not what you're playing on. Because if you couldn't see what I was playing on, you would swear I had this system from the gods. But then you look, it's like, he's only on a PC. Yeah, because they didn't get CDJs this time. But you wouldn't know it. And that's the thing. You have to get into the music so much and make the best of what you have. So it sounds like $1,000,000 every time you do it. And once you start learning the music and learning, different parts of the music, you're going to appreciate it a lot more. I had commentators who only wanted to chant on Baha only. And I said, look, keep going no matter what comes on. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't ask for this again. Keep going. By the time we got through that, they loved the other songs. Oh yeah, it was different. Yeah, you get it. Expand, increase your record vocabulary, what it's supposed to be. There are definitely a set of songs. You can run a ball with about 10 songs. You can run a ball with about 10 songs, but the thing is, you won't, because you're going to think of so many more that you can use. But that's the thing. If you use those 10 songs and base everything off of that and run them up and get 10 songs for each category, that's 100 songs that you have for a ball that you stretched out and learned. So yeah, definitely increase your music vocabulary. Think outside the box. Learn the people. Learn the dance. Learn what the dances are. What makes them different? What are you going to do for a face, like a face beat? What song is speaking to you talking about selling face? Listen to the songs. Do they fit the category? What fits a sex siren song? Something very sexy and like, ooh, and you're going to understand it. Use your head. And that's how you become that DJ.
Wow. The ABC of ballroom DJing.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. This is to do with changes that happen through time, but also related to the same. So, do you ever see the music of a specific category evolve into something very different from the original? And what kinds of changes and evolutions of music do you find appropriate, or do you think it's better to conserve some things as they are? And maybe this makes sense. Like, if there's something that was back in the 80s like this, and now,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of these changes that you perceive, and what do you think of them?
Well, to be honest, I changed a lot of the music. All the staples in ballroom, I have a counter staple. Before there was Let's Go. When Let's Go comes on, it signifies the opening of a ball. Still does. It is a beautiful song. It was made in 87 or 86. One of them, and it's just a great song. But the thing is, as with anything, it gets dated, it gets older. And when you get with every generation that comes up, you have people that are nostalgic, people that appreciate it, people that hate it. I was one of the people who hated the old classics. I didn't want to hear Love Is the Message. I didn't want to hear nothing, believe it or not. I didn't want to hear any of that. I came along where the songs had elevated, they jumped, and it was a bump. It was French Kiss and Rock to the Beat and all these things. And like, don't play the old stuff. I don't want to hear the old stuff. But my friend said, you're going to feel the music. And I'm like, he said, you're dancing, but you don't feel it yet. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you're not feeling it yet. And he said, but you will. And when you do, I'm going to be right there. So this is an interesting story. Like I said, Love Is the Message. That song's about 40 minutes long. Not really, but it is. It's about 40 minutes long. And it's very older disco sounding. Very much is. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, I get it. But I didn't want to hear it. And it has everything. It has all the Barry White strings. It's also, it's very lush. But every time they played that song, I'd be like, okay, time for a drink, and walk off the floor. And one day in the Octagon in New York, they double booked the club. They had the the regular LGBT party, and they had a straight party. So we were in there half and half in the club, and they were battling back and forth, and we finally ran the straight people up out of there. And the DJ said, well, thank God, now we can get down to business. And he turned on this magenta and blue light, and the system was up, and there was nothing on. And he played Love Is the Message with the strings. When the strings first came on, I said, ooh. I said, what is that? And it was the beginning of Love Is the Message. And when the bass hit, and I was doing my arms and this, and my friend ran out on the floor and said, now you're feeling it. And I'm like, oh my God. And when the beat came out, it was totally different. It was a totally different song. And I had never felt that song like that before. The next day I went and bought every version of Love Is the Message. The next day. And I was like, I didn't get it. But then I heard the strings. I heard the drum and how hard the drum was with that beat. I'm like, I never noticed it. But when you open up to music, it's going to hit you. And like I said, when you listen, like I said, I was one of the people who didn't like the old, but I got into it. Now, when you have somebody like that gets into it, I'm like, well, how do you fix this for someone else? And my thing is, there's brilliant music from back in the day. And the problem with us is we're a disposable society. You have songs that are classics, and some of them are going to remain, but some of them are just going to go bye-bye. You'll never hear from them again. So my whole thing was, if I'm going to play, I have a crowd of people who know me, where I'm in the middle, older people, younger people. How do you bring them all together? Let me take an older beat, update it, boom, 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 bam, and that's how you get them. When I did Come On and Get You Some More, it updated It's Not Over. When I did all these things, all these songs that have an old flavor, but updated it into Vahan, updated it to Vogue Feminine, updated it to everything else. It was just like everybody gets into it now. And that's how I move all this music together. So that's how you bridge that gap. And that's how you make old new and keep the new people's attention as well. We've taken Vahan and we've taken it to the future and back. So we've cut up what Vogue Femme used to be in 1999, 98, 2000 to the futuristic stuff we have now. So we've, collectively, we've done that. We've done that beat. We've taken Love Is the Message from, and It's Not Over from the 80s and 77 and updated it into something 2020. So we're constantly doing that. And it's to keep the people's attention, but never losing sight on what we had, but moving forward all the time.
Okay. To coexist kind of with the old and the new.
Yes, because that's the thing. We don't want to dispose of the heritage and what was there. So, I keep as a staple, I keep bringing back old songs. I make new songs, but I keep bringing back an old beat. I keep bringing back one of the drags who made the bitch samples, the bitch tracks before. I keep bringing them back to let the people know they didn't go anywhere. There's a new beat for this one and this one. These people that you grew up and loved hearing their songs, but now you didn't hear them, so you think they're gone. They're not gone. They're still here. And this was the reason for me putting the MCs on tracks. I put Jack on the track, Kool-Aid on the track, Aaron Christian Bazaar on the track. I put all these people on tracks first to let them know they're still here. To give them something. One was to give them their own theme song, because they're like, when they introduce the show, it's your theme song, but also to let people know that they're here.
Beautiful. Are there some developments in ballroom music that you don't like so much, or that you feel like are taking it a bit too far, or into a direction that you just don't feel so much?
Well, there's some to be honest, when I make a track for someone, If you're not ballroom, I'm not going to do a ballroom track for you. I'm going to give you something that you have that you don't have. It'll be hot. It won't be ballroom, but it'll be hot. It'll be something you'll be happy with. We'll be happy with. It will sell, and we can probably use it in ballroom. But the intention is never to make it ballroom. I'm not going to make you a ha. Why would I make you a ha? You have no use for this song. You've never been to a ball. You don't do anything for balls. Why would I make you a ha? That serves no purpose. So I'm like, if you come to the balls, if you participate, and if you come and and you're getting your life or whatever, and you're an artist doing everything else, but you do come, sure. But at the same time, like, if you're just here to feed off of the resurgence of the interest in ballroom, no. But I'm gonna make you something hot, but it won't be ballroom.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the time? I suggest that before we open up the conversation and we let some more questions that have arisen, we could do a couple of like your favorite, like a couple of quick questions about like,
Okay.
or just like a little collection of some of the questions we got beforehand and during this are to do with like your personal favorites. So let's go. Your favorite MCs to work with and why?
My favorite MCs to work with. Okay. My favorite MCs to work with, because we started this like we did, are definitely Jack and Selvin. Jack and Selvin, because when I came back from Italy the second time and started to play all the balls, when I started my brand of LSS, because before I started, all that cutting and bam, 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 all that stuff was never in the DJ's repertoire. They played the song, they mixed to the next song, and they mixed to the next song, and that was LSS. I came in, I was starting and stopping and boom, and all that stuff. Jack and Selvin grabbed the mic, didn't know what I was going to do, never missed a beat. We didn't practice, it happened like that. And it was just like, they didn't say, Vaughn, what are you doing? They just kept going. And that made everyone want to do or be called out on LSS. Okay, that is by default. So Jack and Selvin don't count in this. I love working with everyone that I've actually worked with. Only 2 people didn't get what I was doing when I started. And then that took nothing but, come here, whatever I do, don't stop. I'm following you. But see, that's what I had to tell them. You are running the show. I'm following you. The music is following you. You're following the performer. It is a trilogy. The synergy of the 3 of us. You don't stop. I'm following you and a performer. And once you told them that, it worked well. Not you got it immediately. Okay. Zelda. Zelda thought I was no. Zelda got it immediately. I loved her voice and everything, but she touched one of the knobs and she thought I was gonna hit her. But I love her to death. Zelda.
What touch? What did you say?
Yeah, she was on the a lot of people who do especially in hip hop, they have a hype person, and the hype person will be over there with the DJ and turn the volume down.
Okay.
And she touched the mixer, and I was like, she's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna hit me! You hate me! You hate me!" Like, but yeah, I've actually all the overseas the ones that I've worked with, I love to hear them. I love what they're doing. Stateside, Precious jumped into, she got it. Greg Evisu Lanvan, love his commentation. And he's such a, oh my God, he's so different. If you haven't listened to him, if you haven't heard him, watch him. He doesn't do a lot of events now, but he's on such a level, it's ridiculous. Kevin Jay-Z, yeah, that's beyond beats. We're just getting nasty with it. Tree Ebony, I, Isaiah, and Elijah. I'm sorry, Elijah Ebony in Atlanta. That was one of the person I talked to. It was say, hey, don't stop. And once he heard that, didn't. Dana Scarborough, Jesus, God rest her soul. This woman's voice was so raspy, and she got it immediately. She was in Virginia. Oh my God, it's just so many people that are commentators that they just catch it, and a lot of them know what I'm going to do anyway because they've heard me play. When you have to understand, when the people didn't know what I was doing, it was strange and it was exciting. They were like, "What are you doing?" And, what is this? And it just caught everybody off guard. But like I said, Jack and Shelvin just went straight through. Didn't flinch. Nothing. Just showed up to say, "Hey, I'm gonna try something different." None of that. It was just showtime. And it was so those two definitely it's so many people. Chiara in Italy. Oh my God.
Wow.
Her voice. And I'm not. There's nothing. I say this about the people, especially overseas. We speak a different language, but the thing is, even if you don't understand the language, you understand where they're coming from. You understand the communication, and it's like so refreshing to hear that and hear her pick up her own language and pick up her own chant. And it's like, wow. Typhoon, he incorporates a lot of singing with his. It's just, I love to listen to all of them. I get inspired by them. I really do.
Cool. I suggest we we have a couple more of your favorites. Favorite songs and why? If you had to say like a couple, I know you could go forever probably, but if you had to say
Yes.
like two or three.
My favorite song to vogue to is definitely Dub Break, and that's the Junior Vasquez. When you hear for Old Way and New Way, it is just the ultimate song for me. Catching all of those hits, and it has the right mixture of old way and anybody can catch it kind of song. But it's definitely the hits that are in there that you have to catch and you would know a song.
Cool. What about your favorite categories to watch and why?
Definitely the performance category is definitely runway. But like I said, it could be any category depending on what you have them do. You know, if you said self face like you coming out there Cleopatra and they're coming down the runway with Cleopatra, I'm like, oh shit, bizarre to see what's coming up this runway, So yeah, it could be any of them, but definitely performance is my favorite and runway.
Yeah, it's more the how, I think you mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's more to me. Even with someone that's old or performing, if you're not performing from the back and you're just walking and you're just voguing, you have to excite me. Yeah. And I can tell everybody else, hit it from the back. Like from the end of that runway, we need to see you. The whole crowd needs to see you when you put your first foot on that runway. You excited from the back, you got them.
Cool. Favorite functions and why? Favorite moment.
Functions. I definitely like the Christmas ball in London, with the secret ticket. God, what function? Berlin voguing out, of course. That for definitely the Paris Awards ball. It's been great. Here I love the latex ball. Nearly every year I love the latex ball. There was a couple of them that was slow when we moved to uh area, whatever this was, area 50, 54, whatever it was, but they got it back. Last year was phenomenal. A couple of years ago when the Twisters took over. Unbelievable. Um, it's just been a lot. I do like I like balls where they don't take any bullshit. If you come in and say, especially in the States, we deal with a lot of bullshit. Meaning they're gonna get there when they get there. Well, you have a venue that says we're opening at such and such, and at this time we're not gonna let any more people in, and people come in trying to be fab, and it's like, oh, I can't get in. No, you can't get in. We told you. You're not taking bullshit, and you feel free. You can stand over there. But see, that's the thing. You have to understand. It's not you. It's this whole situation.
Right.
So it's not you getting in the ball. I'm gonna go on the ball and participate. That's the idea you need to have.
What about your favorite clips? If you had to say like your couple of most meaningful ballroom clips.
Meaningful ballroom clips.
Again, there might be a few, or
Yeah, it's a few. I'm trying to name some off the bat. This was not a ball per se, but it was a moment that was heard around the world. At Street Star, it involved me, Deshaun, Inksy, and Lysandra. It went around the world. It just blew up to everything.
Inks is in this chat. Inks is here also.
Yes, that was something. It was phenomenal.
Really?
It was phenomenal. It was just everything. Kind of hard to describe it, and I can sit up here and say I love this, I love this. It was so many of them, but I was actually talking to someone else. We were talking about time flying, and especially about the COVID case because we've been in the house for 5 months. But I'm like looking back on what we did. I'm like, we did a lot of stuff in a lot of years, like, and there's so many moments. You know, when the Bazaar first came out in Germany and they killed it, and when they came, the moments at the latex ball when all the girls came from Finland and Sweden and walked the latex ball, and you know, watching Barbara destroy the runway at the latex ball, Ixie and the girls destroying the runway at the latex ball. It's just so much in every country. Being at home in Naples, Italy, finally, and representing a full-fledged ball and having everybody come. The Parisians came. Paris is burning, actually in Paris, and have the ninjas there to fulfill that. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Great.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot. You've seen a lot, haven't you?
And that's the thing. I'm like, I don't think about it, but when you think about it, yeah, it's like it's a lot.
When you go back, you realize.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that's all of the questions we have received so far, and now thank you very much, Ron. We still have time though, and as usual, we usually have this kind of 20-ish, 25 minutes. If people have things they want to say or comment or something or ask more questions, so now's the time. Hope you're still hanging with us, Bjorn.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Everyone else too. I know it's a lot of information, but if there's anything you would like to add or ask, now's your moment. So you can write it in the chat, or you can even turn on your microphone and say it, or say something to Bjorn, or however you feel. Privately is also fine. I'll be checking the chat if you want to send it anonymously. That's also fine. So let's see. Virpi has to go.
Virpi, hi Virpi.
Like 10 minutes ago.
Oh my God, yes, and that. Oh God, her. Oh, that situation with her.
What was this?
No, they had a great function over there too. That castle and everything. Oh my God, yeah.
Castle? What?
Yeah, they had us in a castle. And we did the Archibald. It was great. Virpi and all of them.
Oh, wow. We have some thank yous to you, Juan, in the comment section. And Paula was asking, can you tell us a little bit about how you follow the performers with your music by mixing them on the spot? Yeah, this is an interesting one. So how do you decide, and what information do you get from the performers when you decide your music?
When I decide my music? Say that again?
It's in the maybe Paula, you can also clarify this for yourself. Maybe, I don't know. Or do you want to say? It says, can you tell us a little bit about how you follow the performers with your music by mixing them on the spot? Is that clear? Or oh, Vjuan, you're on mute. We can't hear you at the moment.
Bingo. Okay.
You're back now. You're back.
Okay. When I see someone come on the floor, I'm watching. If you don't know, you can watch the ball DVDs and everything. I must see. I have to see the floor because I want to see what talent is coming and what they're bringing. Because when someone comes onto the floor, I'm playing for them, and I give you the beat, but then the first couple steps, you're exciting me. I'm like, okay, you want to play, so I start to make the beat as they're going. I start and stop the beat. I'm watching them move, how they dip. I cut the beat off so they can dip, and then all of a sudden, if they're feeling it, I see their arms. I'll give them a breakdown, and they catch the breakdown and dip, and I'm making a beat as I'm watching them. So it's really important for me to see them, but also see them. You have that confidence when you step on the floor. You have that confidence when you step on the floor and you're coming through like, just move out my way. I'm like, okay, here we go. That alone is going to get me like, okay, here we go. Let's see what we got. And that's how I make beats for people that are there. If you come to the floor, don't come timid, because it's like, okay, if you think about a ball, if you think about the judges table, think about the judges table and the DJ and the crowd. We're all a bunch of sharks showing our teeth. And you come out there timid, we're going to bite you. You might get through, but we're still going to bite you. But if you come out there and you're not timid and you're performing, we can see it. We can feel it when you perform. We can see and feel it. And that's what excites the whole place. That excites the commentator, who gives you a nice chant, and I'm playing with him and playing with him or her, and I'm playing with the performer, and the whole crowd goes nuts. So it's your confidence when you step on the floor.
Totally. There's something you said before about the Trinity, which is a really beautiful thought of the performance and the DJ and the MC coming together. And can you articulate, like elaborate on this somehow? Do you feel like the performer is listening to both and the MC is listening to both, or is it like a circularity, or who's getting information from who, and in which way would you articulate this?
The way it's kind of unspoken, but it's you. If you watch someone come up and perform especially if the commentator gets in front of their face, the performer is listening to two things: them chanting and that beat, because you have to be on beat, and you're listening to the commentator chant. If I'm messing with the beat, I have to make that commentator fall on beat and also catch the performer on beat. And the commentator is listening to me play so they don't get off beat and chanting for the performer. So each one of us is listening to two different things. We're listening to the other two, and it creates this vortex. And once it's working, it's beautiful. And people are they're gonna get their tens, they're gonna get moments and everything else. And you don't even realize it's happening, but your brain does it. It should do it like second nature. You won't even realize it's going on. And that synergy, you can't even buy it. You can't buy it. It's something that you got to go out there and do it. And I see so many of them do it now, which is great.
Right. So this just takes experience, I guess, and repetition.
Yeah, it takes experience, but the experience of it is like, a lot of people come out, and if you don't know it, listen to the commentator, not just the chanter. Listen to the commentator, especially the old way commentator, or new way. But I should say this: listen to Jack and Selfie.
Mm-hmm.
Go look up one of their ballroom moments, and listen to them. They're telling you what to do. The commentator's actually telling you the over. I said the over. Let me see you pop. Okay, let me pop. Let me see you spin. And that's the thing. A lot of people just say the words, but they're actually telling you what to do. Sometimes they're telling you an element that you missed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're telling you a new way. Okay, you're doing. Sometimes let me see you stretch. They're telling you to stretch. They're actually helping you, even though you may not need the help, but it's there. It's a reminder. You know, sometimes they see it when they were very heavily on the elements. And yes, there are more than 5 elements. There are more than 5 elements. The 5 elements they were speaking about were just the most popular that the female figures did and that they required the Vogue Femmes kids to do at that time. But they're telling you elements that you may have missed.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the thing that you want to tell them is like listen to what's going on, as far as the commentator.
Connected to this, there was also a private question I received about similarly
Mm-hmm.
to DJs. What would you be recommending for DJs that start? So you already went into this emceeing, commentating, chanting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is good when you're starting out and you're trying to get into the craft? And
Of DJ listening, definitely expanding, learning to mix, learning how to mix old and new. I mean, because at certain times, if you are ballroom DJing, if you're going to be a ballroom DJ, number one, it is the hardest DJ job out there. It is the hardest because you're on the fly. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got my music. You got this. Oh, we're going to change this. It changes like this. And you have to be on point like this. And you have to have the right records. And then you have this. Oh, well, my production. Oh, this and that. Can you plug this in? It's back and forth. So it is the most demanding job as far as a DJ is concerned. I've done stadiums. I've done arenas. I've done no less than 5,000 people every week in Italy. And DJing a ball is the most demanding. It is the most demanding DJ job because you're with a bunch of people that aren't paying you, but have a whole bunch of opinions. And it's like, and you know what? I'm like, and it's just so much, but you have to learn to deal with it. And how you deal with it is becoming familiar with the music, relaxing everyone's expectations and playing something that you know is going to work and be like, just relax, hold on. And then and they'll get it. So they learn to trust you.
mm-hmm.
A lot of times when they get you in a ball and you're not someone's from that place, okay, I want you to play this, and this. I know how to DJ a ball. Let me do my thing. But see, it's a trust factor. You have to learn how to trust you. And you putting them at ease by being able to be fluid helps them. It helps them. And they get to trust you, and they get to trust your judgment and what you're going to play and do, which is exactly where I came from. Because before I came along, Carlton, who is, he's definitely an icon in the scene. They have not awarded him the icon status, but he is an icon. He played at all the balls in New York. He played the majority of the balls that I've heard in New York, but so did a few other people. But Carlton, you know, he was level. I've never heard them yell to him about anything. All the ball DVDs I've been looking at, I've just heard DJ beat, and he would be right there with the beat. You know, so when they started to talk to me and this and that beat, and when I began to use my mouth, it's like, wait a minute, I made all this mess. You're not gonna tell me what's what, you know? And you couldn't because I made it for them, and the people that were complaining weren't even the people that were on the floor. It was the people around the people. I'm like, you're not even participating. You're not the one that's dancing.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to say something about a beat? You know, but that's just the thing.
Yeah. Gotcha. Question came to me. Is the MC allowed to chop someone? And have you seen an MC give chop or tens before the judges? Is this
Okay, I have seen an MC chop someone. I have seen now. If it's not correct for them to take over and do that at a ball, but it is correct for them to bring it up that someone else was chopped for the same thing that this person was chopped for, and you didn't chop this person. So what are we going to do? You know, and what they need to do, after that is to bring up the promoter of the ball, whoever's ball it is. Now this person got chopped for the same thing,
yeah.
and I'm chopping this one because they got chopped for it. What are you going to do?
No.
You know, that's the kind of thing. But it's not right for an MC to chop someone of the function. I have seen. Now, if it's a member of your house, it's different. Selvin has chopped members of his house coming down the runway.
Wow.
He's at one chop. No, I'll talk to you later. Jack has chopped someone from his house coming down the runway. I've seen it. I was there, like, ooh, you know, and it's like they did it. So that's what I'm saying. If someone does that, I've seen the top tier do it. I've seen people come out on the runway and their housemen just go, no, come on off this runway. And which a lot of people should do because they're not ready.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with a lot of people when they come to ballroom, because they can do a spin or dip, you're not ready to perform. You can do that dip, but can you perform? Can you battle? Are you ready for it? And no one knows that better than your house because you're using their name. So when you're ready and they say you're ready, that's when you should go.
True. Okay, but so technically it's not allowed, but to point out injustices or to point out some that's something that
now the commentator can't, but the promoter sure can come up. Look, it's my ball, and that's not gonna be it. But at the same time, if he does that, you need the consistency because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
If you chop for this, then you got to chop her for that. Be consistent, and you'll have no problem.
Nice, that makes sense. Jeremy Ninja wrote on the comment section, Vjuan, I remember forever the beat on the old way category at Milkshake in Amsterdam, the time it got postponed to the evening. The beat turned the crowd crazy and elevated our battle so much.
Yes.
Remember, you leave an impact.
I love doing that, and I always there's the thing also for beat makers and people that get these beats. There are certain songs that you're going to hear at a ball that are only meant to be played at a ball, and the reason we don't give them out is that if we give out everything, everybody will have it. There'll be nothing special. This comment that he just left me lets me know when that song came on, it went above and beyond, you know. And my song, the one that's been playing for the last couple of years, Any Bitch Want It. Everybody wanted that song. Everybody and their mother wanted that song, but I would not give it out because I needed the ball to get to a fever pitch. And then at the ball, when you had the two runway kids getting ready to battle out and you put that on, it just took the ball over the top. So I had to make a new version to give out to the people because they've been waiting for the song forever. It's not to say that I have it and you don't. It's to keep the balls very, very hot. If, like I said, if we played everything we have nothing special to give for a good moment.
To make it special, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, question from Paula: do you think DJs should be paid for playing? I could imagine that it's a lot of work also before the events and buying the records and everything. So, what do you think of?
Who's not getting paid?
Sorry.
You said should they be paid for playing?
Yes, this is the question.
What DJ is not getting paid?
Oh,
you need to contact me. Like, yeah, because if you're not getting, DJs need to be paid, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Not just because of me, I'm gonna get paid anyway, but You were one of the first people there. You're one of the last people to leave. You catch the most flack at a ball. You catch the most criticism at a ball. Damn right, you need to be paid. And they need to not forget that you're up there and bring your drinks and or food and or candy, gummy bears, all of that. Not forgetting that you're there, because the thing is, once everything is going good and the music's good, they tend to forget that you're there because it's going so well. Now, if you had an issue, then they'd be over there and you'd be like, oh yeah, can I get a drink? Oh yeah, so and so. But yeah, DJs need to be paid. They should all be paid.
Yeah.
All of them. That's the first thing.
Loud and clear. Cool. Let's keep that in mind. All organizers here.
Yeah, you tell that person who said that, if they're not getting paid, tell them to contact me.
Okay. Good to know. Last time Matuz and Typhoon said that there are no balls without MCs and DJs. Well, that is obviously very true.
That's true. There are no balls without that. The thing is, if you have it now, there are definitely moments where you can take, and we have, when they've cut off the music, where the people will clap, and you can still hold the category, but you won't do that for a whole ball, and you can't run a whole ball without a commentator. They can walk up and get tens and everything else, but it's going to become very, what are we doing if you don't have the commentator? That's why you need to, people that are doing balls, understand, your venue doesn't have to be the Taj Mahal. It doesn't have to look like shit, but your ball needs to be seen and heard. And it's seen by the people that are there and heard by the people that are there for the music and the commentator. As long as you have that, your ball will be golden, no matter where you have it. You having a fab venue and a fucked up sound system is not gonna work. One speaker is not gonna get it. A mic that keeps cutting off is not gonna get it. Invest in what you have your talent going to. And if they can't hear anything, if they can't hear the commentator and they can't hear the music, you've already lost.
Yeah.
Okay. So, move the funds around. You don't have to go get that last bottle of glitter. Go ahead and pay that DJ, pay that commentator so they can do their job.
Yeah.
Because it is a job. And I'll be damned if you don't pay me and ask me to do something. What? Like, yeah, okay, you hold on for that.
Yeah.
All right.
Makes a lot of sense. Taj Mahal would be cool though for a ball. It would be cool though, now that you mentioned.
Oh yeah, it would be.
But not the first. Not first. We have time for a few more. I have one here, which is when do you think someone is ready to judge in their scene? So yeah, there's two parts to this. When is someone judge in their scene versus abroad internationally?
Okay, listen to this. Just listen to this.
Let's go.
A judge, if you are a judge, you should be seasoned enough to know what you're looking for. Meaning, you know what the category is calling for. If you don't, if you're calling for labels, you don't know what the label is. It looks good. Bring it up. Let me look at it. Let me see if it is this label that you said it was. If it's face, a face again. You have to know what you're judging. Face does not mean you're the cutest person, the cutest guy, the cutest girl, or the cutest non-binary in the place. Do you have face? It's a difference. Cute does not mean you're sexy. Sexy doesn't mean that you're cute. No diss to either one of them, but you can be cute without being sexy. So you have to know the difference. So if you've been in the ballroom scene a few years, done your category, you've been around a bit, that's the person that you want to have judge. And once you start judging, the people who are throwing balls, the people in attendance will see what kind of judge you are. Okay? If you're impartial, can you chop someone in your own house? You're supposed to. If they didn't bring it right, are they bringing it right? Are you fighting what's on the flyer with what's coming down the runway. That's what makes you a good judge. You voting just because it's your house member doesn't. You don't do them any favors. They can win, but they still won't win. And everybody knows that you voted for them because you were a house member. But, you know, once you learn to be fair, then be fair. And you should tell your members, now, come on. You know I'm up there. Don't make us look bad. You know, come on. And as a house, they should have done that in the first place. But it's after a couple of years, you guys have a new scene. Europe has a new scene. It's what, 10? 10 years old?
In Finland, there's, yeah, I'd say pretty much that. Sweden, yeah, all of Scandinavia is pretty much 10 years, more or less.
Yeah, it's about 10 years old. And so, you know, about a good 5 years in, but I don't expect anyone who had a great year to call this, oh, it's my ballroom thing. Oh, I'm going to be a judge. No, it is not that. It is not that. One great year means you had a great year. Do it again next year. That's what one great year means. You know, you have to understand that people on the judges panel, and don't get up there and act like you're all high and mighty and all this stuff. It is not that. Judge the ball. Yeah. That's what you're there for. Judge the ball.
You heard him. I think we have time for one more question. If there's anything. If not, that's also fine. I know it's been a lot of information already, but feel free to turn on your mic or write something like a last little thing before we start wrapping things up here. We have one, which is sorry. What do you think are the most essential categories to have at a ball?
The what?
The most essential categories to have at a ball.
The most essential categories to have at the ball is what the ball promoter wants. It's their ball, so they can put on what they want. That's the thing. If you're doing like a latex ball or something like that, we're gonna go through the categories. We're gonna dream up some categories. But anyone, like, if you know, it depends on what the person wants. Alvernian Prestige, his grand prizes are Oatways. Oatway as grand prize. You know, everybody doesn't do it, but guess what? He is an icon for Oatway. So his ball, Oatway, is grand prize. He'll give you everything else, you know, but that's the thing. It's up to the person giving the ball. But what you want to do is give a good, you don't have to have everything. Because that's a good, if you had everything, you're talking about a good 40 to 50 categories. Normally we get to about 30, maybe 25. So some things are cut out. Some things are cut out. And, you know, some things are doubled phase, tag team phase. And those are the special categories. So you cut other things out. You don't have a foot iron belt. You have tag team phase. But it depends on, you know, what you wanted to see. What they're doing for that ball. But you have a good intersection of all the people, non-binary, you know, the non-binary, male, female, cis, all that. You want to run a good thing so everybody in attendance can participate.
Yeah.
And you just make it up from there.
Final question. I received this in private. What would be your last advices and tips for this emerging 10-year-old scene? So we're talking pretty much all of Scandinavia, where the scene is in a nice blossoming phase, but we're still relatively new, at least compared to the States, of course. So what would you say we should focus on, or what kind of advice, since you've also been here relatively, what would you say we should?
What I think you guys should do is continue to learn as much history as you can. Keep doing what you're doing, because we see you guys just as much as you see us. Every ball that you have, we see us. We see us. We see everything. Diesel was the first person to do the online ball. Did you see what happened after that?
We saw a lot of,
Everybody's online. He set the standard for that.
yeah.
So we see what you're doing.
Yeah.
They applaud what you're doing. So everybody watches you guys. I said that to say you could be in Scandinavia, you could be anywhere, but the world is watching you. The world is watching you. They just did an online ball in Japan with Kopi, and where the idea came from, you guys. So everyone's watching you. You know, so I keep saying do these things and you know, continue to push, continue to define categories and find ways that work in your country. Not so much in changing ballroom, because ballroom is going to change. Sometimes it takes a lot of different pieces of a puzzle to move to change. Okay, and you'll be met with some barking, you'll be met with some shouting. You know, take it all in stride. Every argument and every read is not a diss. Some people just don't understand it. Some people can be made to understand what it is. And some people just won't get it. Some people just won't. The world didn't get ballroom for a long time, but then they got it. Now you can't turn on the TV without seeing somebody bogan. You know, again, this is the second time it happened. This time's a little bit more cautious and a little bit more lucrative for other people and a little bit more worldwide. But yeah, that's what they're doing. And you know, you guys, we love the whole Scandinavian scene. We love what you guys have been doing. You know, you guys need help. You have a pipeline of people to help you. Myself, Archie, anyone, you know, Sanaya, Jack, anybody that's come over there, you know, and new ones, people that can help you with stuff, anything. All you have to do is hit us up. We're there to help. We're there, you know, to help you shape things. Not trying to take it over, but guide you on the way, and hopefully not make the mistakes that we did. You know, or get you out of situations where it's coming up and shut it down, and teach you guys how to shut it down like we finally did. You know, but getting to you guys sooner than what someone got to us.
Right. That's great to hear. That's really generous of you, and thank you.
You're welcome.
I suggest we do what we usually do. We turn on our microphones and we give a huge round of applause to the icon.
Oh,
Let's go. Thank you, John.
thank you.
Norway, Finland.
Yes.
So, wow, thank you. This has been a very intense, very inspiring, very enlightening 2 hours of hearing your stories and your opinions. And I think there's a lot for us to learn from this.